All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Adam Makes Beer. My name's Adam, and today we're going to be breaking into this recipe for buckshot, which is the peanut butter stout that we made, peanut butter cup stout that we made. It was a lot of fun making. I did some things that I haven't done before, technique-wise, ingredient-wise, and so we'll bust into all this stuff. We're going to jump into the recipe, and then I'm going to get the beer in front of me, and we'll dive a little bit further into the tasting. I did have that suggestion, and I'll see how it works. For the grist for buckshot, our peanut butter cup stout, we're looking at 76.7% of base malt. In this case, it was Malt Europe domestic pills. We have 5.5% of Weyermann roast barley. We have 7.8% of Simpson's Crystal 80. We have 4.5% of chocolate malt, and we have 5.5% of flaked oats. I write it as floats in my notes, just so you know. Big picture, we're looking to hit a higher mash temp with this. We hit a mash temp of 154 degrees on this beer. We gave it a rest for a half hour. We got good numbers out of it. We went up to 1064 as the original gravity and ended up going down to 1017, which gave us a finished ABV of 6.1% on this beer. I did ferment with Fermentus Dry 04, the British strain that they have, and we did put 50 pounds of essentially PB2 butter, or peanut powder, into the whirlpool. I did bitter this with a high alpha clean bittering hop, and I shot for 24 IBUs at 60 minutes. And that's really the nuts and bolts on it. If you're looking for kind of some water side information on it, I did bump up chloride on this beer quite a bit because I want to have kind of a soft round edges on it. But anyways, let me get this beer in front of me. We will sample, taste, talk about what I wish I would do differently next time, what I feel like I'm getting from the grist and everything like that. So hold on just a second. All right, so into a snifter glass, you can see a nice, big, rich, dark, it's pretty dark, deep tan brown foam on it. Definitely nice dark brown to black beer here with this stout. This is really it's an oatmeal stout recipe that I used to do back at a place called The Raven. Back then it was called 582. It was a coffee stout that we would do on nitro sometimes, and it was called 582 because it had been 582 days since I was able to make my own recipes. So anyways, it is a spin-off of that. And what's cool about this beer is I do feel as if I do get a nice, bright, toasted peanut butter cup thing on the nose with this. I would say we're solidly in the medium range for peanut aromatic coming off of this. Now, as always, I did lift this peanut butter impression with 20 ounces of extract from our friends at Apex Flavors. They have a peanut butter cup extract, TTB approved, that they sell, which, as always, just really helps to create that nice top note in a beer like this. So yeah, I do think we get that nice, at least medium toasted peanut thing going on in the aromatic. And to be honest, it kind of pushes back the rest of the malt character. So if I'm going to talk about the malt coming off of this, I wouldn't say there's a ton. It's pretty dominant peanut butter. Here's where the malt comes in on this. I do think there's a nice, rich, roasted character coming from this combination of that chocolate malt and that roasted barley. I do like to blend up different types of roasted malt to kind of create like a bridge of flavor. There's a little bit of sweetness back there from the caramel malt. It does help to dessert out a beer a little bit when you do something like that with that Crystal 80 that we have. The flaked oats do help with a little bit of smoothness with this beer. We did put that 50 pounds of peanut butter in the whirlpool, or of the PB2 powder. Just right off the top, there's a couple of things. I do notice that foam drops quickly on this beer, and that can happen when you are using elements that have fat in them. They're going to be anti-foam, right? I would like to see a little bit better foam stand on this, but it might kind of be part and parcel to using as much peanut butter as we did. I'm kind of willing to do the trade-off for right now. I'll do some more experimentation with this because this beer is selling well in-house, and I just find it very enjoyable. Kind of the goal for a beer like this is to have it be rich and full and desserty, but still maintain like a ton of drinkability. And some people don't like that term or whatever, and that's fine, but I still want you to be able to drink a handful of these without saying it's too sweet to enjoy, right, or to have more of. But you do need a certain amount of residual sugar in order to make these beers kind of bump up the adjunct flavor in them. I think there's a medium plus body on this beer. I did try to keep lactose out of it because if I can, it means that there's a segment of that I can have everybody drinking it as opposed to those that can't have, milk sugars and things like that. So I did keep lactose out of this. This might have been a nice add in this beer. I do think that the body is a little bit medium plus, but at the same time, I think I could try to push more body with this beer because, to be honest, there's almost no bottom for people's desire for body and viscosity in stouts. Something I might do in the future is swap out the flaked oats and swap in flaked rye and maybe double it, the volume that I'm using, because I get much more viscosity out of flaked rye than I do flaked oats. So that might be something that I do differently there as well. What I like to do, and the reason why I'm using a couple of different roasted malts, is I am kind of trying to create layers of flavor, right? I do think when you're making stouts like this, it is helpful to kind of get your roast malt anywhere between 12 and 8% in order to get enough color. And also be careful of watching your Lovabond on those. Roast barley from Wireman to Crisp to whoever else, you can see a big swing in darkness on those. So kind of keep an eye on that. You might end up getting a little bit more roast than what you expect. Overall, I'm really pleased with where I got with this beer. Things can always be better. Like I said, I would like to push up body even a little bit more, even try to magnify that peanut butter cup impression a little bit more, potentially a little bit more peanut butter. There are some things I can do for foam on this as well. I could have used the Tetra Hop product that I've used before, drop my bitterness down in the kettle, and then use that Tetra Hop product on the backside to replace the bitterness. And the cool thing is with that Tetra product is it does help to give a more robust foam stand. So maybe that's something that can help you out with the beer when you're using an adjunct that might be a little bit foam negative. That might be a way to go with it. You can also knock up your percentage of extract on that. I would suggest that you at least try to layer it with real product and then extract on top. But you can try all extract as well, especially if you feel as if you have a really good extract. If you're going to be pushing up the amount of extract that you're using, I would recommend taking a smaller volume of the beer and kind of dosing that with various amounts of extract to kind of see what you can get away with. If you're concerned that you don't have a lot of beer, if you have a 5-gallon batch of beer, go ahead and buy a commercially available beer that's similar in base style and then dose that up. That might be a good way to go, and it might save you from ruining a whole batch. One thing I do want to mention, though, about the process side of what I did with the peanut butter, something I might do differently next time is to keep longer contact time with the peanut butter on the beer, is try to get that peanut butter slurry into the fermenter. And what I mean by that is I could potentially knock down the temperature of my runoff going into the fermenter. And then when I get down to that kind of this like peanut butter juice, kind of light peanut butter slurry type portion of the kettle, I could cut everything, not push all that peanut butter slurry through my heat exchanger, but bypass that and put it directly into my fermenter, okay? That might be a way that I can get more peanut butter into the fermenter, therefore increasing contact time. That might also help as far as that goes. But by and large, I'm really pleased with how this beer turned out. It's been a fun one to mess around with. Again, I'm not somebody to be slinging peanut butter all over the place, but I don't know, it was good to get outside the box for me a little bit and kind of push myself, because then you know kind of what you can and can't do with the product, and it's just another thing in your tool belt, all part of the process of developing as a brewer. Anyhow, as always, if there are any questions, feedback, comments, anything like that, leave them down below. Please like, subscribe if you're getting any value out of the content that we're producing here at Adam Makes Beer. And as always, hit up your beer-loving brewing homies and hit them with that link. Send them my way. There'll be some videos here and here to check out. Do it. Appreciate it. Till next time. Cheers.